So if you need help continuing to talk about a list of schools, I like to do that. That's one thing that I really enjoy, is sort of getting to think about a student's personality, what they're like, what their hobbies are, learning about them, and then being able to make some suggestions based on what their interests are. Okay? There's absolutely no delay, no benefit to delay in the area of applications. Many of your children have already submitted an application, I'm betting. I know some have, with certainty, have submitted online applications. I'm not saying that they're going to be missing deadlines if they're not submitted by October 1. But what I am saying is this. If there are 2 spots left in a class, and I have 2 students that are exactly the same in every way, which would obviously never happen, one applied in November and one applied in March, I would give the spot to the student who applied in November. It's just the way it works. So there is no advantage to delay. If you happen to be a parent of a student who you're kind of having to drag along a little bit more through this, let me make this suggestion. Pick a Saturday. Pick a Saturday. Order pizza, stay in, lock the door, no cell phones, stay on the computer, get all of them pounded out in one day. That's my suggestion to you. Of course, as you know, every college and university has different sorts of deadlines. You who are, whose children might be applying to University of Tennessee Knoxville or even using it maybe as a backup school, beware that they have a very early scholarship deadline, which is November 1. That's something that sometimes folks miss, and that's unfortuitous.
By November 1st?
By November 1st is their deadline for priority scholarship consideration. Okay? For scholarships. At this point, all of your children have, to the best of my knowledge, all of them, requested 2 of our teachers write letters of recommendation for them. We're kind of getting out ahead of where we have been in previous years for many reasons, not least of which is we have teachers who are writing 15 and 20 letters of recommendation. Pales in comparison to my 69, but they also have to teach and I don't. So I want you to encourage your child to follow up. That's the right thing to do, but not in a way that's sort of annoying. You know what I mean? I think you can find a happy medium that maybe if you walk up and say, Mr. Page, just wanted to make sure, is there anything else you need from me? Do you need a resume? Do you need a list of activities? Is there anything else I can provide to you that will make this easier? What you don't want is to run up to Mr. Page 3 times in 1 week and ask him if he's finished yet. I want to try to avoid that. I've asked the teachers to have letters of recommendation completed by October 15th, which is well ahead of any of the earliest decision, the early decision deadlines. Now, for institutions that have rolling admission, and that's a term I should maybe explain just in case, rolling admission means that basically when all of the materials are received, they'll make a decision within a matter of 10 days or 2 weeks and send it out immediately. Many institutions operate on a deadline system, some on a rolling system. Mississippi State and Ole Miss, both, I believe, are on a rolling system. So if you sent your application in today and it were complete today, you might have a decision within 3 weeks. But that is not going to happen here very likely because we won't have those recommendations yet. So we need to follow up about the recommendations. The essays are a really important topic. We had a great summer essay writing workshop. Talked to many of your children about that. If you missed out on that opportunity, though, don't fret. I have encouraged students as often as I can. We have many resources here on campus to help you. I consider myself to be decent with mechanics, grammar, and I'm happy to proof essays, and I do that quite often. We have other people on the faculty, including Jonas Holdeman, Dr. Steinbach, Barry Gilmore. They're very gifted in areas of creativity and also in mechanics. And they are really, really generous with their time in talking to kids about essay. And in general, let me make this statement. In general, the more selective the school, the more important the essay. And it's very difficult because you are trying to, many of our students are laboring, or well, what should I write it about? How do I convey me? And one of the suggestions that I give to them is, when you're finished, give it to your best friend and ask them, does that sound like me? If you've done that, then you've accomplished a lot. You've accomplished a lot. I want you to encourage your kids to keep their grades up. I got a letter. I was going to include it in this pack. Obviously, I would have whited out the name and the name of the institution. I got a letter from a university about a young person over the summer whose offer of admission was withdrawn, rescinded, based on outcome of spring semester grades. So an admission offer is made in, December, January, February, March, April. So the student continues to perform. At the end of the school year, they ask me to send a final report. And if you're not up to snuff, it's written in the print. This offer of admission is based on your successful completion of your high school diploma. So this is not at all the time to take your foot off the gas. It's and by the way, this is true too. Some of your children may be waitlisted or deferred. You may not get in the first go round. They may call me up in November and say, Rudy, would you please send in grades, the first quarter grades? Would you please send in fall semester grades? Folks, that does happen often. So, can't stress that enough. Keep grades high. We've talked to our students about the SAT and the ACT. Probably should have taken one of each by now. My general course of suggestion is take one of each late in the junior year, and then take the one that seems to serve you best, that is, that you seem to perform best in. Again, twice more in the fall. So the optimum number of examinations for one test is 3. Any times beyond 3 and you're probably beating the dead horse and driving your child insane. That means we've reached a point of regression where we're probably gone as high as we're going to go. Some more selective institutions require the SAT 2 or subject exams. I've talked to many of your children. They know about this. Some are taking subject exams right away. You can read about that on collegeboard.com. Collegeboard.com for the SAT and SAT subject exams. ACTstudent.org for the ACT. One thing that I wanted to write on this, and I failed to remember, which is to say I forgot. We're going to come back to that. This is tough to try to find the balance between being involved and being over it. So you have to use your own judgment and intuition. I encourage you to let your children take as much of the lead as is possible.